what's up, everybody? This is the Dating is Hard podcast. I'm your host, Joe Welkie. For everything regarding this podcast and comedy game show, you can go to datingishardcomedy.com. You can follow the Instagram at datingishardcomedy, and you can follow me on Instagram at Joe Welkie to see where all my shows are and all that good stuff. The Dating is Hard comedy game show is every fourth Wednesday at Pack Theater. It's a by donation theater, so that means if you've got extra money to throw the theater's way, please do. But if you don't, you can still come and enjoy the show. And all of the shows that are at Pack Theater is a great place to see some live sketch, improv, and even stand-up comedy. If you guys could please subscribe, rate, review, give this podcast 5 stars. Please do that. That would go a long way in making this podcast bigger than it already is. If you're enjoying it, please tell your friends about it. If you're not enjoying it, please tell no one. Tell not a soul. That would be great. Today on the podcast, I have a great comedian, a good friend of mine. She just got out of a relationship, and she's putting her toes back into the dating pool, and I really wanted to talk to her about it to get her experience, because I feel like she's kind of got a unique perspective on dating, and that is why I would love for you guys to have a listen to my sit-down chat with Suzee Dunn. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Dating is Hard podcast. I'm your host, Joe Welkie, and today I'm here with a great friend, a funny comedian. Everyone, please welcome to the show, Suzee Dunn.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, what's up?
I've never said that in my life that way ever.
Yeah, why did you do that?
I don't know.
Why would anyone do that?
I don't know. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
How you doing, Suzee? Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm great. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm about as fantastic as a human could possibly be that's all cut up and bruised everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just life, you know?
Yeah, I'm about as fantastic as a human being could be that works way too much.
Yeah.
And drives way too much.
Let's quit everything.
Yeah,
Why are we trying?
Great. I don't know.
You know what? This podcast is over. Thanks. Thanks for coming, Suzee.
Okay, but I did just get healthcare, so like.
Oh, you just got healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking huge.
So I don't know if I would have been ready to give up, and then now I have this, and I'm like, okay, I could try a little bit longer.
Yeah, yeah. The system is keeping you alive at this point now.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So that's perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So, healthcare shit out of the way. We talked. You know what you're here for. This is the Dating is Hard podcast. We're here to get into some fucking crazy dating shit.
Oh boy.
I know that you've just kind of been recently out of a relationship back in the dating world. Mm-hmm. How's the dating world treating you? You're on the apps, etc. What's going on?
I love it. I always love being single. I'm like. Oh, sorry. Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
No, you're good.
I'm like perfectly happy being single, or I'm a pretty flexible person as far as like the romance in my life goes, because I'm fine. I get fucked when I want to get fucked. I get dined when I want to get dined. I like nothing is missing. It's fine.
There is
Sorry, I have a cough, everyone.
No shortage of suitors for Suzee Dunn.
Yeah, it's fine. Like
I've never heard anyone put it quite like that. You're like, if I want to get fucked, I'll get fucked. If I want to get wine to dine, I'll get wine to dine. It's not hard, everybody.
It is hard, but it's not. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't okay, I think this is what it is. I don't attach goals to relationships.
Okay.
So.
Like what do you mean?
Like I'm not out here like looking for a hubby or like looking for a long-term person, or like I'm very like I hate saying this because it sounds so douchey, but like relationship anarchy is like pretty much how I am. So like every new relationship is what it is.
Yeah.
So there's no like I'm not like searching for a specific thing, So I think that gives me like a lot of mental freedom.
So with how you're dating now, are you just kind of like playing the field right now, or what?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I would consider myself to be poly
Mm-hmm.
because I'm also like someone like, okay, the last person that I was with, we were friends for a year and a half before we dated.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm someone who that is also like, I take it so fucking slow, you know? And
Yeah.
like, so if I'm dating people on an app, I'm probably seeing them once a month and like really taking my time and, you know, and then if I get swept off my feet, it's usually by someone that I already know.
Well, how do you know when that person has swept you off your feet? What does it take to get you to take the leap and just be like, yeah, you know what? You're the person for me.
Communication.
For the time being.
For the time being, yeah. Temporarily. I think communication is a big one. I've also like, I've dated friends my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, you know this about me. I love astrology.
Yeah.
You can roll your eyes all you want, Joe, but I'm going to talk about it. And so my Venus, which is your romantic sign, is in Aquarius. And Aquarius is very, like, the way that Aquarians love is very, like, friendship-based and, like, knowing the person is the like, it's hard. Okay, dating apps are hard for me because it's, like, everyone's hot. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what your guts are and what your brain is, you know? So, and that's way more interesting to me, which I also just learned today, which I was really happy that I learned this fact. When women are on birth control, on hormonal birth control, they are more attracted to someone's brain and, like, what they do with their life. And when they're not on birth control, they're more attracted to just the physicality of the person. Because when you're on birth control, your body thinks that it's pregnant. Like, it constantly thinks that it's pregnant. So what your brain is doing as far as, like evolutionary wise, is looking for someone who can protect your child and who can provide for you and your child, even though I don't even know if I want kids, but that's what your brain is doing, you know. Whereas when you're when you're off the pill, rather, you're like looking for the hottest person to bang to get you pregnant. And I have been on the pill since I was 15 years old. I mean, or some form of hormonal birth control for 15 years now. So I think that my sexuality is like just so far what the person's brain is and like who they are as a human. And I think that like today I was like, holy shit, it's probably a lot to do with the hormones that I've been pumping into myself. Before. I had never heard it either. And it was like, whoa, like.
Well, I also feel like so many women now, it's just kind of like, it's a bit of like the standard that they go on birth control as like early as possible.
Yeah.
And that would explain a lot of like how people are dating out.
And how people are like, oh, women are more emotional about it and more into the brain, and men are like, let's just fuck, you know, and like whoever's hot. And
you gotta
I'm
find
like,
these risky ladies.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're a hot dude, look for women that aren't on birth control.
Isn't
but
that crazy?
Pull out, bro.
Please pull out. Also, condoms, Joe.
Yeah, I know. God, it was a joke, Susie. God. You're a comedian, you get it. Ugh, come on.
But yeah, that was like a really interesting nugget of information.
Yeah, I mean, I
just learned.
I mean, I'm sure everybody listening that didn't know that would be an interesting thing that they did. Because I didn't know, and now I'm like, oh shit, that makes so much sense.
Right? Isn't that
based
crazy?
On like how people are dating. And have you ever like... So you're more of an in-person kind of person. Like, have all of your relationships blossomed from in-person, or have you met a person that you've dated via an app that was like a consistent, we're in a relationship?
One person, and I love him. We're still friends. And he's the best. But we always joke, we met on OkCupid and we were a 98% match, and we always joke that the 2% that was missing was like the most important 2%. And also, I just like couldn't follow Fish for the rest of my life.
What does that mean?
The band Fish.
Oh, no.
Yeah. It's fun to go, like, when you take drugs and, like, go with friends and stuff. But he goes to Fish shows, like, multiple times a year. He'll travel to go to Fish shows. And I would be like, hey, we should go to Hawaii together. Like, at some point.
Yeah.
Not even like next week, just like we should plan a trip to Hawaii because we both love Hawaii. And he literally would be like, oh, I can't this year because it's like all my travel is dedicated to fish shows. And I just got to the point where I was like, your hot ass girlfriend is asking you to fucking go to Hawaii with her and you can't even do that. And we've only been together not even a year. Like, there's no hope for us.
Yeah.
Like,
that's rough.
and I love adventure. I love travel. I love doing new things. I like new experiences that's like my favorite part of life is like, I'll do I'll go to a fucking country festival. I hate country music, but I don't care. I'll fucking go and see what it's like, So I very much live that way. So like being with someone who just wanted to do the same fucking shit all the time over and over again, I was like, we are.
Did you ever go to any of the fish concerts?
Oh yeah, I went to like 10 of them.
10?
Yeah, but well, one of the like 3 of them were in Vegas over Halloween weekend. And honestly, that was incredible because everyone dresses up all 3 nights and you're in fucking Vegas. So you just like party all day long and you're on drugs all day long. And then you go to fish and you just like trip. And it's just like, the whole weekend just like blends itself together. And it was a fun time, but
I don't think I've ever heard a single fish song.
yeah, there's a song that's called Susie Greenberg.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did they play it when you were there? And you
Yeah,
were like,
I've heard
oh,
it. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
And all the friends that were with all like turn and are like, Susie, Susie. Yeah. It's a whole culture that I am glad that I'm not deep in. Like, like I said, like going and having those experiences was great. And one of the ones I went to was, I used to live in New York. I lived in New York for like 6 years. And my best friend at the time lived in New York, and like a group of our girlfriends all got tickets to go too. And so did my ex and his friends. And we ended up all sitting separate. So all the girls were together and all the guys were sitting separate from each other the whole night. And us girls just had like the best fucking time.
Like an 8th grade dance.
Yeah, it was just, so silly and fun. And so yeah, new experiences are like.
So wait, when did you live in New York?
2008 to 2013.
Oh, okay. I feel like there was did you go to college there or something?
I didn't go to college.
Oh.
I just moved to the city.
Just moved to the city. That's fucking cool.
And started working.
Did you date people in New York?
Yeah.
Is that where the fish guy was?
No, he was here, but he was from New York too.
Okay.
He grew up in New York. No, I dated in New York. I like fucked a lot when I first moved there because I like came from a small town, and it was just like when I landed, I was like, oh,
I'm free.
Because I went to high school with people who I went to preschool with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like that's.
Wait, where are you originally from?
Battle Creek, Michigan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Kellogg's and Home of Sojourner Truth. If you don't know who she is, fuck you, Google her. And so when I moved to New York, it was like, wah! And then I met a guy who we were then like friends for a few months, and then his school ended because he started like midway his semester because he was at a conservatory, so his semester started like midway through the year or whatever. So he left and went back to New Hampshire for a while, but we still like stayed in contact and we were flirting the whole time. And then he like came to quote unquote visit, and then he just never left. And then we were together for 5 years, and it was horrible. Like,
it was horrible.
Just so toxic. And like, I mean, we were 18 or 19.
Yeah.
And like, it was just like, we put so much pressure on each other and like so much pressure on our relationship. And like, we were just supposed to get married. Like, that's what we were supposed to do. Cause like we were both from small towns where that's what you did. And like, whenever I go home, my friends are like, is this the one? Is this the one? And it's like, none of them are. Like, no one is the one for anyone. Like, but, so there was just a lot of pressure that we put on our relationship. And he was the only boy of a family of 5 kids. All the others were girls. And so he was like, the prodigal son. And like his mom was, I'll say it, she was a fucking cunt. And like his older sister was terrible to me. And like, his little sister, oh my God, they just judged me so much and would just like any move I made that they didn't agree with, they would just like slaughter me for. And
like, what, do you have one in particular, like specific?
Oh, well, a big one is when we moved here together.
Mm-hmm. To
LA together, yeah. And I have panic disorder. And my panic disorders was really tough to live in New York with. So I would get like sick all the time and get like crazy migraines and like I was vomiting a lot, and it was just like bad and hard to deal with. And my parents finally were like, I would literally have like panic attacks, like severe panic attacks every time I would get on the plane back to New York. And it didn't, like, I loved New York, but like I couldn't live in New York that way. Like I think now I could if there was a timeline, but like just trying to, and being poor in New York, like
Yeah,
it was
that's the
just,
worst
it was
part.
so hard. And so I was like sick a lot. And he had always wanted to live here in LA, but he's from New Hampshire. And so his mom was like, no, you can't go that far away. You have to just live in New York. And so then my parents were like, well, we'll fly you guys out to LA and like let you guys see what LA is like, because we have a business trip out there anyway, and we'd love to see you guys anyway. So like we'll just bring you guys out for like the weekend or whatever and try to pitch Suzee on moving to LA, because he was like wanting it too. And so I came and I was like, all right, whatever, fuck it. I'm 23. Like I could go live in LA for a few years. I hate it. I moved back. Like it doesn't matter, you know? And so we moved, and his family like blamed me for it. And we're like, you're taking him away from us. And I was like, he's the one who wants to, like, I'm trying to make New York work. Like, he's the one who wants to live in LA. So they were just like really unfair to me. And even when he was like, no, I'm the one who wants to live in LA, like they still were just like, well, she brainwashed you. And like, just, and then his little sister would come and stay with us, and she would like have no money, and he had no money, and I was like working my ass off, and I supported him and I most of the time that we were in New York, which is like insane that I was supporting two people living in New York, you know. And then she would come and visit, and she would have no money, so then I'd have to support her. And then she would just like say that she was coming to do modeling stuff, and she just like wouldn't do shit and would just be on our couch. And then the last month that we were living there, she wanted to come and stay with us the whole month. And I was like, she can come until X date.
Yeah.
And then I need to be like focusing on packing, and like I need to have my time in my city before I leave with my friends without our like his little sister there. And they like hated me for that, and like were just, they like, oh God, there was like a whole thing where he was at work, and they called him and told him that I said she couldn't come at all, and like even though everyone knew that I didn't say that, and like they just would lie and like try to manipulate him to break up with me and whatever. And then he was really volatile too, and I don't even know. It's so funny thinking back on that relationship, because I'm just like, how did I let myself go through all of that for so long? Like 5 years, Jesus.
Yeah. That's good. Do you think that's an important part of a relationship, that like a family likes you? Or do you are you of the mindset that like if I'm cool with you and we're working, it doesn't matter what the family thinks?
I think that what it depends on is how the person who's the representative of the family handles the situation.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you aren't going to bat for me against your family, and you're letting them treat me that way constantly, and you're not at least separating us, or if you're asking me to constantly put myself in that position all the time, like I would say that we're probably just not compatible, because I don't need to like deal with that. That being said, maybe there is someone who I like fucking am gonna fall in love with so deeply that it doesn't matter what anybody thinks of us, but I've yet to find that.
Yeah, I always am wondering about that, because like my college girlfriend, like the first one that I really had, her family was like super, super Jewish, like Orthodox Jewish, and they didn't like me because I wasn't Jewish.
Yeah.
But I was of the mindset like, you know what, whatever, I like her and she likes me. And I don't know if that's like a good thing. I know that if the family likes you, it makes it certainly easier.
Yeah. My best friend went through the same thing with her Jewish ex-boyfriend, and like she wasn't invited to Hanukkah. She wasn't invited to like, and he grew up in Long Island and like in very deep Jewish culture, and like finally she just had to be like honest with herself, like, because she's not like us. She doesn't do this whole like,
not like
she's
us.
A normal person.
She's
you know?
not poor.
Yeah, she has a salary and like a 401k and like a job, you know. And so for her, she really wants to be someone's wife and really wants to be some people's mom, and like you know. So I think she had to do some like deep digging there of like, okay, well I really love him, but like if what I want can't happen, then why am I?
That's a bummer.
Why am I here? Yeah, but I hated him, so I was like, thank God. Bye. But that to me is more important. Like I like what my best friend thinks of my significant other is like, because I've known her since I was 15 years old.
Yeah.
And we've been through hell and back together. So, you know, if she doesn't like you, like, it's probably not going to work out. Because she's right, you know?
Yeah.
And she knows me. And, like, she doesn't not like people. She doesn't like you because you're not right for me, you know?
Have you ever had somebody, like, confront you like that? Where it's like one of your best friends being like, hey, the person that you're saying is kind of a dickhead.
Luckily, no. I have had people be like, don't date him, you know, but I'm not deep yet, you know?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What were the reasons why you shouldn't have dated somebody?
Because he's gross and, like, has done all these things to other women that I didn't know about.
Oh, yeah,
that they
that'll
knew
do it.
about. Yeah. Because, you know, the comedy community, we all know each other's
small.
shit. And then also I worked in the bar community here forever, and it's the same
Oh,
there.
really?
Yeah, it's so tight. And, like, because we all usually skip around and work at different bars, you know, so it's, like, just a really tight-knit community. And, like, I remember there was one guy who was, like, so hard hitting on me. And I just had this feeling, and I was like, I'm not even going to kiss you until I, like, do some
research,
some background check on you, because I just have this feeling. And then I did, and I, like, found out that he had raped 2 women I know, and I was just like, thank God, like,
Jesus
thank
Christ,
God. Like,
dude.
yeah,
That's
so
a horror fucking story.
yeah,
Jesus.
it's terrible. Well, also the bar community can be extra volatile because alcohol and drugs are so rampant that, like,
Yeah, I remember. I mean, I was a bartender, but, like, not really a bar. When you were in New York, did you ever go to Bear Burger?
no.
There's an organic burger place, and they had, like, a couple of mixed drinks, and I was the quote unquote bartender there.
Right.
But I never was, like, a bartender like in a bar. But even working in restaurants, like, everybody's fucking
Everybody's
everybody.
Everybody's fucking everybody. Like, I have a friend who, she's literally in my phone as Eskimo sister, because we've, like, fucked so many of the same people. And we'll literally text each other and be like, have you ever had sex with this guy? And then we'll be like, oh, yeah, definitely do it. Or, like, not worth your time. Or,
That's wild.
yeah.
You know what's crazy is, so I've known a Tiff. A Tiff is my roommate. I had a Tiff Myers on Instagram. Check him out on Spotify, etc. He's a great comic.
God. Good friend.
But he and I have been friends for like 12 years at this point. We went to college together. We live here together. We've been roommates together. We've been single for long times. We have never once slept with the same girl.
Fucking good for you.
That's crazy.
It's good when, I think there are certain people who who I'm friends with that I maybe couldn't handle that with. Mm-hmm. Like I have like my best friend out here. Her and I lived together for like 2 years, and I don't, like, we made a pact that
You couldn't.
we wouldn't. And especially living together, it's like, that's just not fair to anyone.
Yeah, it might be weird.
It's just rude.
Well, I also think that, like, a Tiff and I are so different. Like, the people that are into a Tiff would never be into me, and the people that are into me would never be into a Tiff.
Yeah, me and this person are, we attract the same people, but we end up with very different people. So
what type of people do you attract? What do you look for when you're looking for a significant other?
That's,
I don't know why I said that. So
I don't know. For me, again, it's like all brain based. Like, okay, I swipe left on moderate or conservative people. Like, I just can't do it. Especially like in today's economy. Are you kidding? Like, no way, not here for it. Like, I cannot be with someone who is aligned or not against. I can't be with someone who is not against a party that has kids in cages right now.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, that's a hard no for me at this moment in time. So I think, like, being politically aligned is really important to me. And I don't even care if that makes me miss out on people, because I'm just like, right now where we are, like, I can't, there's no, that's just, that's
yeah,
like
I mean,
hard no.
that's a very important part of your life and your beliefs. And if that doesn't align,
then we're not going to work out. So that's a big one for me. I think it's so scary out there, because I don't know, like, the one time in my life that I've ever just met someone randomly out in public and had like a holy shit moment across a room. We were like at a party at Thanksgiving, and we saw each other, and it was just like the whole world slowed down, and like we looked at each other, and literally he said, wow. And like it was like, I've never experienced anything like this in my entire life. My heart was like, my brain my hormones were telling me that I was in love with this man, like before he'd
immediately.
said any word to me ever. And I've never, ever had anything like that happen. And this fucking guy, like, turned out he didn't vote in 2016. He owned a gun. And then he, like, one morning we woke up and we had sex that morning and we were walking my dog. And he was like, I can't wait till we do anal. And I was like, what an interesting way to say something that you're going to do to my body. Like, instead of being like, hey, would
this
you
is
ever...
a given. I can't wait till it happens.
Yeah. As opposed to being like, hey, would you ever be interested in doing this with me, or like experimenting in this way with me? And so I said that, and he was like, oh, no, it's fine. I'll just get you really drunk one night and then I'll do it too and you won't even remember.
Oh,
and I was like, you literally just said you're going to rape me. You literally just said you're going to rape me, and now we're done. Like, we're done now. And he was like, no, I didn't mean it that way, blah, blah, blah. And then, like, 2 weeks later, he was like, I talked to my mom about it, and I'm really sorry. I shouldn't have said that. I see now. But in my brain, I'm like, that means you've done that.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you've for sure done that. Like, the way that you said that. So
he said it like it was kind of like, this isn't a big deal. It'll be, like, kind of funny afterwards after I fuck your butt.
Yeah. And I was just like, so it's like, it's terrifying to me to, like, be around strangers. So I have a hard time with it. And even when meeting people on apps, like, I'm very, like, I hold people at, like, an arm's length. Like, one of the people that I'm seeing most regularly right now, we literally see each other once a month. And
That's
it's delightful. I don't even know his last name. We don't follow each other on any social media. Like, but I know a lot about him. Like, we're getting really...
How many times have you seen him?
Like 3 or 4, or I think 4 or 5 at this point, actually.
And it's been like once a month?
Mm-hmm. But we, like, spend a good chunk of time together once a month. We spend, like, he spends the night. We spend, like, we go on, like, a 6-hour date, and, like, we really, like, dig deep. And, like, he's going through a big heartbreak and, like, promised his therapist that he wouldn't date anyone seriously for a year. And I was like, perfect. Like, on our first date, he was like, well, what are you looking for? Like, before we even had sex, he, like, clearly someone who's in therapy, and, like, just was like, what are you looking for? What do you want? And I was like, I don't, because I also, like, the last time I was single, I was like 25, 26-ish. Mm-hmm. And at that time I was like, okay, I really want to focus on my career. I've, like, fucked so many people in my life. Like, I don't need to be out there, like, dating. I'm fine. Like, I'd rather just be single right now and not even dating. Like, just with myself, with my friends, working on my work. So I, like, was really, really not interested, which is why I think I ended up dating a friend, because it was like that was the only possible way that I would have dated someone at that time. Yeah, was knowing them, and then like, our friendship blossoming and becoming deeper and deeper until it was like, okay, well, we're dating now. Like,
Hey, did you notice that we're dating now?
Yeah, that's basically what it was. And so then now this time that I'm single and I'm turning 30, or by this time I'm 30, I was kind of like, oh, like, I should just have fun. Like, there's no rules. I'm not looking or not looking for anything. Like, every person that I'm with will just that situation will present itself to be what it's supposed to be. And, like, I'm just not attaching any expectations or pressures to any of the relationships that I'm in. And I am very open with all of them and let them know that I'm dating multiple people, and that if they aren't a friend, I'm probably going to take it really slow with them. And, just see where it all unfolds. So,
not to put you on blast or anything, but how many people are you, like, seeing
oh my God,
at the same time?
It's so many people, Joe. It's so many people.
This is why it's once a month, because you have one for every 30
exactly. No, I'm not that bad. But I literally, this is a joke in my stand-up right now, but I think I'm really going to have to do it. I really am going to probably make a spreadsheet.
Yeah, I had a calendar, then I was, like, writing things down. Like, I need to keep this straight. Because sometimes when you're in those just whirlwind, like, I'm dating so many people, it's hard to keep them straight. It's hard to remember what stories you've told to other people.
Exactly. I'm fucking 2 Michaels right now, okay? Like, it's hard out there.
That could actually make it easier, because you can't be like, oh, Michael.
Right. But yeah, and I mean, it's Some of them will only be a few dates, I'm sure, and some of them will be.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are some of them more serious than others, or
I think eventually.
is there
I'm
a
not there yet
hierarchy?
because it's. I don't. Maybe there will be. I mean, I'm only like 6 months into being single, so there hasn't been like a lot of time that's with any of them yet, you know. But
Yeah.
maybe, yeah. There's someone who I just started dating who I'm like really into. And I like.
Sorry, two Michaels.
Yeah. Well, I'm really into one of them too, but he dates how I date, so we are very much keeping each other in line. Like we also only see each other once a month. He also like he's sorry, Joe, but he's a Sagittarius and he dates so much like a Sagittarius. Like I didn't hear from him for a month, which is fine. I don't care. And he texted me and he was like, "You want to go to San Diego tomorrow?" I'm like, "You motherfucker." Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. Like, yep.
Yeah, sure. It's like, you piece of shit. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm in.
And we had the best time. We have like the best dates. Like it was so cute. We went and my stepsister was down there because her boyfriend's parents have a condo there. So it was over the holidays. So she was down there. And so we saw her and, you know, it was just like a really cute date in San Diego.
See, this is why it's so weird to me. You don't believe that there is like one person, right? You
Yeah.
don't think that there's like a soulmate or anything.
No.
But you put so much stock into like zodiac and astrology and stuff. I don't know how those two belief systems don't like butt heads against each other.
Well, no, they totally, because I use it. So I'm not someone who's like reading my astrology every morning and living my life by that. My best friend is that way. And I think it's great. I do. Like, and I support her in it. But I am someone who I think of it as research. And I think of it as like I know how to like date a Sagittarius. And like, I know how to like fuck a Scorpio. And I know how to like, you know, I don't know, how to give advice to a Pisces. And like, so I just think of it, as like a map, you know? Mm-hmm. And then when someone behaves a certain way, I'm like, yeah.
This is like, I tweeted it one time, and it was like, every woman in LA, quote, "Yeah, astrology's fun, and like it's fun to think about, and like I don't really believe it necessarily, but I did my whole entire chart down to the minute and birthplace that I was born, and it's real and amazing."
I believe it. I totally believe in it. I think, because, okay, for me, I think like you're going to have similarities with people who are born in the same time frame of life as yourself. And I think also just even culturally within like your American society, like, for example, I'm born in April. So like my birthday was always over spring break. Mm-hmm. And then like I know people who were born on Christmas and people who were born in the summer and didn't get to have like the school birthday party. So I think like even culturally with what you experience and how you are in your life, like you are going to have similarities with people whose birthdays are around you.
So who do you believe, what sign... I'm about to barf asking this. What sign do you think that you are most compatible with?
Well, according to...
Or like 2 or 3. I don't know how this fucking works. Because then I refuse to learn.
According to like the charts, my marriage house are Libras.
Okay.
So fire and air, which is, you know, because air fuels fire. And then water and earth they're each other's.
I had no idea that this was like this intricate.
Signs. Yeah.
Somebody was talking to me about like, well, your fire is blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what? I thought that it was fucking...
Yeah, but here's the thing. So, okay, like there's a guy that I'm dating right now who's a Libra. And the night that we met, he literally told me, he was like, "You're my wife." But he meant it. He didn't mean it like...
Yeah.
He wasn't like, "Oh my God, we're so in love, blah, blah." Yeah. He just meant it like, we are very compatible and like there's fireworks. And, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he's right. Like, but we're so casual right now, and we will be for like years probably. And he has a kid, so we're taking it very slowly. But like when he said that to me, I was like, "You're a Libra," like immediately. And he was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Yeah, I knew it." But the thing is like I told him, I was like, yeah, you're going to be like in love with me and so into me, but I'm going to be so elusive that you're going to get bored, but you're going to be like obsessed with me for the first week. And you're going to tell all your friends that you met the love of your life. And then I'm going to be elusive. And then you're going to decide that I chew weird. And then I'm not going to hear from you for like a year. And then we'll get married in like 5 years. And that's what's going to happen. So I don't know. It's, yeah. And with Sagittarius, I'm like, okay, yeah, I won't hear from you for like a month, and then you'll take me on some vacation.
You'll go to San Diego together.
Yeah. And then I was texting a Sagittarius friend about it, and I was like, well, I sent it to my best friend, and I was like, fucking dating a Sagittarius, because she's dating a Sagittarius too. And she was dying. And then I was like, next thing I know, he's going to be like, well, we're already down here. Why don't we just go to Mexico? And then I texted my Sagittarius friend, and I was like, high key, it's like dating you. And then he texted me back, and he was like, oh man, you guys should just go to Mexico while you're down there. And I was like, oh my God. Sorry.
Like, great Sagittarius minds think alike.
I knew. I fucking knew. Yeah.
I would distinctly remember, however, because you were talking about how you're like very open and you're taking things very slow and you have no goals in your relationships right now. But I distinctly remember you posted an Instagram story and your caption was something like, men in LA when you bring up marriage to them. And it was a clip of somebody being like, no, you can't tell me what to do. I don't want to do that or something. So is marriage something that like you're looking forward to? Is that something that you like would want to do? And if so, would you have an open marriage or what?
For me, again, it's like all person based. And that joke was like, because that's true. Like that joke was like not just in my experience. Like, you know, that joke was like what friends of mine are going through too. And also, I don't necessarily care that men feel that way. I just think that it's funny and true. But yeah, I don't know. I think I would be a kick-ass wife, but only to like someone who is right for me. And yeah, I'm definitely interested in. For me, I think like I would like. The polyness of our relationship would probably ebb and flow. Like there would be times, like if we're gearing up to have our wedding and we're like deep in our planning, we probably shouldn't be fucking other people. Like we should just like be focusing on our fucking wedding, you know? And like if I'm pregnant with your child, like the safety of you fucking someone else and then fucking me is like a concern.
Yeah.
So that would maybe be a time too. When
everybody, here we go. It's time for the only recurring segment of this podcast. It's the Atif interruption. Atif, what's the question you have for Suzee Dunn?
What is a trait that you're weirdly attracted to?
Oh, that's a good one. Fuck yeah, dude.
You're happy about that? Okay.
Yeah, that's a good one.
A+ on the question.
Weirdly attracted to.
Like weirdly, like you mean my attraction to it is like extreme?
Like I like a mean lady. That's pretty fucking weird.
Mm-hmm.
I do.
I like fucking nerds. Like if you're, and it doesn't have to be specific nerdness. Like it's just like if you're nerdy about anything, even if I'm not nerdy about that thing, it's so hot. And if you know like a lot about something and you're really passionate about it, I think that's so hot. Yeah.
All right. That's been the Atif interruption, everybody. Dude, I used to get so upset at my ex-girlfriend because she was always calling me a nerd about stuff. And I was like, I hate being called a nerd. Like, I was a nerd. I have, like, the archetype of a nerd in my head when you're calling someone a nerd. Mm-hmm, so I take that as, like, such a very negative thing. And if you call me a nerd,
it's such a compliment.
I fucking hate that. I fucking hate that. And I kept being like, don't ever call me that. And she kept calling me a nerd. And it would piss me off so much.
Now I know how to...
yeah, you get under my skin, dude. Yeah. It's so annoying. I hate that shit. Because, you know, when I was in middle school, I had, like, glasses and everybody called me Harry Potter and shit. Mm-hmm. And I was, you know, a nerd. Mm-hmm. Like, the one that, like, everybody would pick on.
Right.
And now I don't like this rebrand.
Cool.
I don't like the rebrand. I don't like it.
I'm so here for it. I love it. I'm so here for it. But yeah, I think another thing too that I should say like sooner rather than later is that I also date women and I also date non-binary people. So like for me there's really no construct of anything, and like no.
I don't know if you've noticed, because I thought that was true, but I wasn't sure. But I've been saying, like, what do you look for in a person that you date, or a significant
I appreciate
other?
that. Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
Because I thought that was true. I didn't want to like assume anything.
Yeah,
so.
no, it is. It is. I just think like we're just carrying carcasses around, and what the carcass is doesn't really matter. And I have that same, like, even within like a specific gender, like the people, if you like lined up all the men that I've dated, you would be like, wait, what? Like,
Dude, same.
Yeah, like nobody looks like anybody.
Yeah, if you went through my dating history, or even just like the people I've hooked up with, you'd be like, there is no common
There's
thread
no
here.
consistency.
Like, what happened?
Yeah, that's how I am. And I like that. I think it's so, yeah, it's great. It's very interesting, and like, for me, I mean, like I because they're so diverse, like I get to learn so many different things from each person, you know?
Yeah, and that's kind of part of it. Mm-hmm. That's part of it, like learning about things that they're into and learning about what the type of person they are, and then through that you're learning about yourself, because you're like, oh,
I like that.
I fucking hate that person.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
I love how you went like the optimist route and I went the complete negative route. You're like, oh, I like that about that person. I'm like, fuck that person.
Yeah, but also like, fuck that person.
Also, fuck that person.
Yeah, it's also I kind of mentioned this earlier, like it's definitely very interesting thinking this way and being this way and being from a small town, because like my mom, for example, my parents are divorced at this point, but my mom, for example, like married my dad when she was 19 years old, and like that was her one experience for so long. They were together for almost 30 years, you know? And so I think like every time my mom meets someone new that I'm dating or hears about someone new that I'm dating, she's just like counting in her head how many people her baby has fucked. And it's just, you know, it's.
Are you open with your parents about like who you're dating?
Yeah, they. I don't have a relationship with my dad, but I will say that like, okay, my brother my whole life was always like, when are you gonna date women? Like, when are you gonna, like, all through high school, always, like, he was just like, you should try dating women, like, you're for sure gay. And so then, like, when I started dating women, like, I didn't come out. There was no coming out. I was very lucky as far as that was concerned. Like, it just was like, oh, this is a person I'm seeing. And like, my family was, you know, and my dad, like, I'm sure that would not be a problem with him either. Like, that's not our issue, you know? So I feel really, really fucking lucky as far as that's concerned.
What's the longest relationship you've ever been in?
The 5-year.
5-year?
Yeah.
And what's the longest relationship you've been in with a woman?
Not long.
Not long.
Yeah, not long, unfortunately. It also took me a while to I didn't feel gay enough for a really long time, and I didn't want anyone to feel like they were my experiment.
Yeah, I find that's
hard.
Yeah, that's hard for a lot of like, you know, bi or whatever.
Yeah. And also a lot of women who only date women, like, don't like dating bi women, and that's hard too. And and that also like hurts my heart, because I'm just like, not even for me, but I'm just like, fuck, like that's so bi erasing of you, you know, like I'm just as valid, you know, as anyone else. And so that definitely is hard. And like, it's something that I like, when I'm on a date with a woman, I feel the need to bring it up immediately and let them know, because I like, literally, I had a woman who I was like supposed to go on a date with, and then I like brought it up to her, and there was like a lot of weird things that happened with that, but I like brought it up to her, and then she just like was like decided to leave immediately.
Like on the date?
Yeah,
wow.
Like canceled the whole date and just like left immediately. And like it was, and we met in the queer space. We met like at queer events and stuff. So I think in her brain she felt betrayed. But I was just like, okay, but you're assuming that I'm. And I actually went on a date with a woman recently, and she just like attached the female gender to all of my exes immediately, and like, I kind of had to like explain pretty quickly, because I was just like, you're just assuming. And men do it too, you know, with like, they just assume that all the people I've dated are men. And so I feel less like I owe them an explanation, but actually, so I came out, or like, I mean, I don't even know. I wouldn't even say, again, I didn't have to come out. Like, I'm very lucky. But I came to terms with calling myself gay when Hoo Ha Ha wrote an article that I was in as like 30 queer comedians to look out for. And I almost emailed them and was like, hey, here are like 5 way more queer comedians that you should feature instead of me in that list. But then I was like talking to a girlfriend of mine about it, and she was like, okay, just because your experience is lacking doesn't mean that your validity of your feelings aren't there. And like, for you to take away an opportunity for yourself when you are queer but you don't feel queer enough, like there's a little girl out there who feels about her sexuality the way that you do, and she needs you. So like, be who you are and be okay with it, and like basically like buck it up, like, you know. And I was like, you're right, like, yeah, I gotta like own this more and like be
you are
more
who you
vocal
are
about it. And
don't be fucking like, oh, I'm not whatever
enough or whatever. Yeah, which is like,
it's interesting. I would I don't know. I don't know like that struggle and like identity crisis kind of thing, but that's interesting to think about, and it's interesting to hear about that experience.
I also am so like, I don't want to hurt anybody, you know. So I don't want like, but it's also, I think it's unfair that people are like, well, I was their experiment. It's like, no, you're not. Like, they're just everything is an experiment. Like, everything is an experience. Every person that we have sex with is an experience in and of itself. Like, and I do know that there is like a...
This is the Fish concert brain coming out.
Yeah, totally.
Everything's an experience, man.
Yeah, okay,
Open
I've done shrooms.
Mind.
I've done acid, all right? No, but I do know that there is... I mean, and especially with like people of color, right? Like, they are put into...
Oh, yeah.
They are put into, you know...
Yeah,
like,
the whole, like, once you go black, you don't go back.
Right, exactly, yeah. And, like, and that's painful and unfair, and I don't mean to negate any of that, but I just think that, like, in queerness, it's like, well, I think you're kind of closing yourself off to an opportunity with someone who maybe could be, like, quote, unquote, the love of your life, or...
Yeah.
And I had a girl, oh my God, this story is ridiculous. I was at the Abbey at chapel at girls' night with a group of my girlfriends, and she literally comes up to me. This was when I was not dating anyone. She comes up to me and she's like, gay, straight, what is it?
To you?
To me. Just out of nowhere. No context, had never spoken to me. I was just dancing on the dance floor. And she was like,
straight,
gay, straight,
what is
it? And I was like, hi, my name's Suzee. Like,
well, it's good to know that women can also be douches.
Yeah, 100%.
I hear so many stories of guys being douches.
No, everyone's a douche. Everyone's
God.
a douche. And so I was like, well, first of all, those aren't the only 2 options. The second of all, like, you know, and then she was so like, well, I want to take you on a date, and was like so aggressive about it in a way that was like rude, you know. And eventually I was like, hey, I'm not dating anyone. And she like kind of took that like, oh, well, you're not gay enough. Like you're just scared to date women kind of thing. And I was like, no, dude, I'm not dating anybody right now. Like, I don't have time. Because at that time I was working on set, like, I was freelancing and working on set like 13 hours a day. And then I was going to the bar that I worked at and working all night, and then getting back up and going to set and then work. So I was like, just trying to get out of the bar and get my career going. And like, you know, I very much see life as like long. I feel like people say it's short, but I really see life as a long journey. And I kind of am like very okay with different points of my life being different things. Like, I don't need everything to be the same always. Like, last year I was really broke because I quit the bar so that I could fully be on set and not be killing my brain. The year before that, I was okay with killing my brain for a year because I needed the money, and I needed to like get to a point where I had enough experience to be on set to have that be my full-time job. And then now I have a full-time job, and it's like a 9-to-5 job, and so life is different and easier now. But I don't think that I would have gotten here as quickly had I not gone through all of that and focused so hyper on, you know, on my career. And so I just think, I don't know, I think people want this immediacy with everything, and then that carries over into relationships, and they just become like obsessed and are like, they need the answer right away. And like, I'm more of a, well, let's discover the answer together.
Yeah.
kind of person.
Yeah, I also think there's like validity in taking a significant break from dating.
Yeah, 100%.
Like there are so many people that are
Reset.
like, well, I got out of this relationship, let me get back into it. It's like sometimes it's nice to just be like, I'm gonna chill for a bit. I'm gonna do what I want to do and chill
and not have to
me.
negotiate.
Exactly,
and, like,
or portion off time for someone else,
which is all valid.
Yeah,
like negotiating and portioning time is great and valid and important in relationships. But yes, I agree. Like,
yeah, sometimes it's like nice to be. I don't want to say selfish, but like
self-full.
Oh, look at that.
My old therapist. That was his word.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, so everybody knows that a big part of this podcast is sharing horror dating stories.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Suzee has brought a complete notebook full of some stuff that she wants to tackle. What do you want to tackle first that's on this list?
Oh my God. Yeah, this is my personality right here. Like, it's in my planner. Like
That's such a, what is it, Libra? Is that
I'm
what you
an
are?
Aries.
Aries of you. Okay.
It's kind of Virgo of me, but yeah.
Oh, God. Disgusting.
Okay. Wait, what were you? Did you? I sent you a photo of this. Did you?
I didn't get to look at it too in depth, but I saw like you were prepared, and I appreciate that, and it's very nice because sometimes it's a struggle to like pull people out and like get some of those stories out.
I'm not that. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Go for which one.
Let's start with like a
most.
big one because this one just happened recently, and this was insane to me, and I would like to talk about it. Well, I'll get to it. But so I met this guy on a dating app, and we set a time to go on a date, and it was like Saturday night, but we both had plans that night, but we were going to meet up like a little bit later after our plans at like 11, but meet out and just like have a drink and whatever. And so I'm out with my friends, and like 11 rolls by and I don't hear from him, but I don't care. And then like 11:30 rolls by, and I was the last one to text, so it's not my job, it's up to him at that point. And I also don't care if we never met either. Like it's fine. I'm out with my friends. I'm not like sitting. If I'm sitting around waiting for you, I'm annoyed. Like if we had like a dinner plan and you're like bailing on me that night, and I didn't make any other plans because I thought that you were my only plans, like then I'm annoyed at you. But in this situation, I'm just like, whatever. I see him or I don't. It doesn't matter. No stakes. But so then like 1:10 rolls around, and he texts me, and he's like, come to this bar. I'm with my friends, blah, blah, blah. And this is a thing that I'm trying to work on with myself, and this really highlighted this part of my brain for myself. Because I had made a commitment to him already, I felt obligated to follow through with said commitment. But the truth is, he broke our commitment by not texting me earlier and by waiting so long to text me. So I was off the hook, and I should have just said, what I did say was, no, I don't really, like, it's 1:15, like bars close at 2 in LA, like what's the point, and I should have just stuck to my feeling. But I had all this guilt that I put on myself that nobody else put on me, that I like made this commitment and I needed to follow through with it. So I'm trying to work on that with myself of like, okay, but if they break parts of the commitment, then you don't owe them shit anymore, and you don't owe anybody shit anyway. But so I go, and it's up the street. So I go, and I get there, and he's so weird, but I don't know him. So I'm like, maybe he's just weird and I'm not into him, and that's also fine. But he's so weird. And then we like go into we're at like a group karaoke place. So it's like for people who haven't been, it's like a big room where there's like a TV and people are karaokeing, and there's like a ton of food and booze everywhere and whatever. And go in to his friends, and he just like starts to pull me in towards him in front of all of them. And not that everybody's looking at us, but it's just like we're with a bunch of people I have never met. And he starts to like pull me in, and he's like, can we just get the first kiss out of the way so that it's not awkward anymore? And I was like, wait, what's awkward is kissing here. Yeah. And then, but as I was saying that, he was already kissing me. And it was just like, what? Like, no, like I'm talking and you're literally just like doing to my body what you want. So then I'm like, okay, I'm very over this already. And then there's like a cute girl, so I'm like, oh, I'll just go like sing karaoke with her. And not even that I was like gonna hit on her or anything, but I was just like, she's cute and like sweet and fun and we'll sing karaoke together. So we're singing karaoke together. And then in the middle of us singing karaoke together, the guy whose birthday it was, not the guy that I was on the date with, or date is a loose term, but whatever it was.
Meet up, first meeting.
Yeah. The guy whose birthday it was comes up to me and grabs my face and puffs my lips open and starts to put a pill into my mouth.
Oh.
And I was like, whoa, what are you doing? And I like stepped back and he was like, oh, it's from the guy who I was supposedly on the date with. And I was like, I don't care who it's from. Like, what are you putting into my body? And he was like, oh, it's just some Molly. And I was like,
dude,
like,
oh my God.
I have to get out of here. Like, I have to get the fuck out of here. And luckily I'm at the point in my life where I'm like, I don't really get wasted. Like, I was pretty sober. I'd had like 2 glasses of wine through the whole night. Like, I was very together. But like, there is a scenario where I would have just accidentally swallowed that pill because he was literally like putting it into my mouth, and like I wasn't paying attention to, like, it just came out of nowhere, you know? And so I like pushed him back and I was like, never do that to anyone ever. Like, ever. Like, you can offer me Molly, but like, I've literally know your name and shook your hand. That's all that we've had as an experience together. Like, and even if you've known someone for a long time, like, you should never do that. And he was like rolling, so he wasn't even hearing anything that I was saying, of course. And then I was like, oh, that's why. Like, the guy I'm on the date with is rolling.
Yeah.
They're all rolling. Everyone here is rolling. And then he comes up to me and he's like, oh, baby, like, come back to this after party with us. And I was like, no. And he was like, why not? And I was like, okay, first of all, I don't owe you any explanation as to why not, but I will give it to you in this case because I think you need to hear it. I'm not rolling. And he was like, oh, I told him to give you drugs. And I was like, no,
yeah,
I don't want to roll.
No, I don't want to be rolling.
I haven't rolled for 5 years. Like, I don't want to take Molly. Like, so then I like
let alone
was like,
forcibly put Molly
at
in your mouth.
1:15 in the morning. Are you fucking kidding me? And this man is like 34 years old, and I'm like trying not to judge, but like, fuck.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, I gotta go, and I text my friends who were at the other bar, and I'm like, are you guys still down here? Because like, can I like get scooped up? Because they drove, because we're adults and know how to fucking handle our shit. But they were like already up in the valley, but they literally were like, we will come back and get you. And I was like, it's fine. Like, I'm a big girl. I'll just call a lift line and I'll get up to the valley. I'm fine. And then the next day he texted me because we had been like trying to plan our date, and one of the options that he had suggested was brunch the next day, but I already had a brunch date the next day. So he texted me first of all, he texted me at like 4:00 in the morning with the address of where they were and was like, come. And I obviously didn't respond. And then he texted me the next morning and he was like, ditch the date and come hang, which means he probably didn't sleep. And also I was like, fuck you for like expecting me to ditch someone else. Like,
yeah,
like, you're a terrible person that you want me to like cancel a plan on someone the day of, like an hour before. And so I was like, I'm at the point in my life where I don't give a fuck anymore. So I was just like, listen, your friend almost drugged me last night, and if he had succeeded, I honestly would have called the police. Like, I'm not kidding. He was a white guy. I'll call the police on him. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And I would have. And then also at that time I didn't have health care. So I would have, and the reason that I don't do Molly is because it fucks me up.
Yeah,
the last time I did
you
it.
were talking about like, you have panic.
Yeah, I have a
stuff,
panic disorder, and like also it makes me really sick. Like the last time I did it, I couldn't stop puking from it, and I had to go to the med center to get on an IV, and like, so that's like when something like that happens to me, I'm really good at like appreciating my body and being like, okay, cool, we're not compatible. So I'm like, I don't know what could have happened, you know, like I could have been $10,000 in the hole in medical bills because some fucking guy tried to drug me, and like I would have sued him for all of that, like 100% and more than, you know, like. So I told him like straight up, I was like, you need to talk to your friend because like that's how you go to jail is by drugging people like that. So that and it's just like, fuck, it's so scary out there, like holy shit. And I just like, I worry for people because like I said, I was like very sober, and I'm very direct, and I'm very like have boundaries.
Yeah.
And I just like worry for people who aren't there yet on their journey with that, and like they're in compromising positions, and they don't have the skill set and tools yet to deal with it. And it's just...
Yeah. See, I get turned down a lot because I don't drink or smoke or do anything like that. And a lot of people are like, that's a big part of my life, and like, more power to them. But I feel like situations like that happen more. Like, I'm not going to be drugging anybody. I'm not like forcibly doing that. Like, I don't even know how to get Molly. Like, I'm fucking such a square, dude.
Yeah.
But there's more susceptible, like, dicey situations when you're drinking or on drugs or whatever.
And I think that's why I'm so specific about how I do it at this point. And also, I don't just, like, my roommate and I, he's one of my closest friends, and we always talk about, like, we don't do surprise drugs. Like, we are not people who, like, if we're going to do shrooms, like, we've planned it probably for, like, a few weeks, and, like, we've cleared the day after and, like, don't have response, And so I'm very much that way, and I only do things like that with people who I know and feel safe with, and, like, I'm very specific about it. And I've dated people who are sober and clean, and it's never an issue with me, because for me it's like that's a recreational part of my life. That's not like
it's not a defining characteristic.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that I, like, think has helped me grow, and I'm very thankful for. And, like, my dad is, like, big into alcohol and drugs, and so I think, like, I'm susceptible to that and whatever. But I think that's also why I'm controlling about it too, because I, don't want the hereditary issues to catch me. But yeah, that was a lot.
I think we have time for maybe one more. I'm sorry. You have a whole notebook of stuff.
It's fine.
Otherwise, this is going to be like a 3-hour long podcast.
I've, like, touched on a lot of it, I feel like.
Okay.
Okay, well, okay, yeah. Sorry.
What is virginity is a construct?
I just wanted to say that.
Down.
I just wanted people out there to know that, like, because I know people who are still virgins, and I just think, like, fucking.
Do you mind if I spin that around so I can see what we got here?
Get it over with. Just get it over with. Get it out of the way, and, like, it's so made up, and also sex is, like, not, like, because, being queer, that really teaches you that, like, sex isn't just, like, penis into vagina.
Yeah.
There's tons of,
I want to take issue with, there's a note here that says white men can't kiss. I'm going to take an issue with that.
I'm sure you're fine. You have good lips. Okay.
Thank you. I always think that I have good lips. I think that
lips.
I have, like, they're nice, they're full.
Yeah, you have full lips. I have good full lips too.
Yeah.
But there are so many white men that I've made out with that don't move their lips. That's why I wrote this down, because I wanted people, what do you do? I've kissed so many men where it's literally like
just like
a fucking wall, and they don't move their lips at all. They're just like.
Do you ever, like, when you kiss somebody that's a bad kisser, it's like shocking.
It sucks.
It's like, I can't wrap my head around it, where I'm just like, dude, I recently kissed this girl who refused. She didn't use tongue at all. No tongue whatsoever.
That sucks.
And I was just like, what?
That's a whole muscle that you're just not engaging.
Yeah, and it's also, I don't know how to say it otherwise than say, like, it's sexy.
It's such a hot part of kissing.
Yes.
It's such a hot part of kissing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, one thing that I'm dealing with.
Can't get the fuck out.
They can't. You heard it here, folks. There are exceptions to all rules, but the rule is, as the rule stands. And another thing that I'm dealing with is, like, just people falling for me too quickly. And, like, so whenever I talk to people about that, they're like, oh, well, you're just not that into them. And I'm like, no, I just think our vehicles are moving at different speeds. Mm-hmm. Like, not that we won't get to the same destination eventually if we could allow ourselves to, but my vehicle just moves a lot slower and takes the what is it called, the pretty route, like I want to thank you. I want to take this. Thank you. I couldn't think of the word scenic. I want to take the scenic route, and I feel like they're trying to take the highway, and I'm just like, but the experience of falling in love is what falling in love is. It's not just being like, I love you,
Yeah.
And there's someone who I'm dating right now who, like, we've only had sex once so far, and we've only gone on 2 dates. And I definitely, like, when we were intertwined after having sex, I was like, wow, like, I have deep feelings for this person, but I didn't say shit about it because it's made up. I'm projecting onto him. Who knows? I don't know this person well enough yet. Mm-hmm. Like, I've made that all up so far, you know?
Yeah.
And if he can uphold to it, then great. And like, it would be really cute if we do fall in love someday. And then I can be like, I knew from the start, but who knows? Like,
Yeah.
it's all made up still, you know?
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Aside from this, so I just pointed to the notebook. Sorry. So earlier you said that you think that you'd make a kick-ass wife.
Yeah.
What are 3 things about you that are like reasons why you'd be a kick-ass wife? Like, why would someone be lucky to date you?
I think I'm supportive as fuck and like down for like the other person's journey, and I'm like really good at understanding that journey is, while I'm a part of it, it's not my journey.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like I love being with people who can like go out separately from each other. Like I have some friends who are married and they're like, oh well, I can't, my husband's not, well, and
dude,
it drives me nuts. It drives me nuts. It drives me nuts. I'm just like, you know that you can go to that without your husband, right? Like, you know that you're allowed to do that.
Maybe your
you
husband
know?
doesn't like that.
Yeah, and that's why he doesn't want to do it. But that doesn't mean that you don't that you have to miss out. And like, and I think that they do that to each other sometimes. And it's like, I have multiple friends who that's true for.
Okay,
so,
number 1, supportive as fuck.
Supportive as fuck. I think that I'm really stable, like in myself. Like I'm always okay. Like, I have been through hell and back in my life, and like I have proven time and time again that I will come back, and I don't need anybody to help me rise back up. Like, I'm just fucking stable. I am who I am. I've been who I am my whole life. It's consistent, like, you know. And then number 3,
This is where like a dirty one's like, I'll fucking lick your asshole, bro.
I mean, not that, but like you're gonna get good sex.
I'm a
all the
dirty
time.
ass, bro.
Like, you're gonna get fucking. Your vagina's gonna get eaten well. Your dick's gonna get sucked for the rest of your life. Like, I love sex. Like, I will, like, the novelty of like fucking in public will never run away from me.
Right?
Like,
That's so dope.
Like, we will have such a great sex life forever. Like, it'll never go away.
Okay. I got a couple more questions before we finish wrapping up. Unless you have one more thing.
Oh,
that
one
you
more
wanna
thing. Okay,
address.
one more thing that I do want to address. Fucking stop asking strangers for nude photos.
Okay.
Stop. Like, just fuck them first, and then I will send you my titties all day long, but like, you got to see them in real life first. I need to trust you. I need to know. Like, I'm not going to just send a stranger. And I know that some people get off on that, but like, fuck you. There's an internet. You have the internet. And I know that there's like a novelty to it being a real person that's sending you a photo. And maybe some people are into it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe some girls want to send strangers nudes. And that's great. And I'm supportive of that. And I don't judge that. But like, I have had so many men ask me for nudes and I tell them no. And then they continue to pressure me to do it. And it never happens. I never send them because consistency. I am who I am and I mean what I say. But I'm just like, dude, you just got to make the effort to fucking meet me.
Yeah.
And then we can talk about it. But like, I'm not out here just sending out nudes to everyone. Like,
yeah, I feel like you definitely need to meet and or fuck first.
yes, I want you to see my body in real life first. And I want to see your body in real life first.
But I will offer the caveat of, if you're like sexting before you meet, I don't think that's outside of the
Sure.
realm of possibility.
But it's been like out of the blue. Like, literally, it's just like, send me nudes.
Yeah,
you know?
the blue is like a little. Look, I am a man. I know that men are scumbags. Mm-hmm. I will not even take myself out of the scumbag label.
Yeah, of course.
Okay?
Yeah, you shouldn't.
Totally been a scumbag.
Yeah, I mean, that's like how I feel about being white. Like, I'm like, yeah, I've said and done dumb shit.
But you have to know how to be suave about your scumbaggery.
For sure. And I'm into it. Like, come on, I'm into it.
Yeah,
like, there's scumbaggery that I like and think is hot, but like,
there's a game that needs to be played.
You got to earn it.
Yeah,
that's what I always say. I'm like,
it's a dance.
Oh, baby, you earn my naked body. You don't just get my naked body.
Exactly.
Like, and also another thing that I will literally say to them, I'm like, dude, go to my Instagram. Like, I'm fucking naked on my Instagram. Like, it's fine.
Dude,
like,
it was funny. Somebody.
And yeah, you're
my Instagram is wild, bro.
Yeah. You're more naked on your Instagram than I am.
Yeah.
So if someone asks you for nudes, it's like, bro.
I think I'm more naked right now sitting across from you than you are.
This whole time, though, I have been like, oh, I got to take this. And then I'm like, oh, I'm only wearing a bra. I can't take this off. But for some reason, I was like, I probably could. Joe probably wouldn't care, but yeah.
It's whatever. Anything else that you wanted to bring up before I ask you the last two questions I ask everybody?
I don't think so. I feel like
I'm looking at this, you've tackled a lot of things. There's anarchy there.
Yeah.
I don't know what fleas means. What is fleas?
it doesn't matter. That's not even worth it.
You've definitely said carcasses a couple times.
That's how I feel about our bodies. Oh, this one is funny. I was dating a guy who we dated for literally a month, and he was so rich, like owned a house, like the richest person I've ever dated. Like at one point, he kept paying for everything, and at one point, I was like, "Are you just always going to pay for everything?" And he was like, "Well, do you want me not to?" And I was like, "Very good point. Very good point."
Touche.
Yeah. And then he broke up with me a month in because he told me that he didn't know if he could marry me or not. And I was like, I mean, same. So if that's like your...
You're like, cool, thanks for the gravy train
if
for a
that's
bit.
yeah. And I'm like, but if that's your criteria, then like that you need to know that you would marry the person within a month, we are not compatible.
Yeah.
And that was just and he was like, because when he was breaking up with me, I was like, okay, fair, cool. And then he was like, wait, you're not going to like contest this at all? And I was like... No, I'm not here to convince you that you should keep dating me when you've clearly like set this boundary for yourself and you're like looking for your wife and you don't know if I'm her. Like you should go find your wife. Like
yeah, that always backfires on people. I love when that backfires on people where they're like, maybe we should break up, and then you are like, yeah, you know what, you're right, and they're like, wait, what?
Yeah,
I was 100%. Expecting like a fight.
I wanted you to suck my dick, like,
I get it.
and keep me back, like, give me back. Yeah. No, I was just like, okay, cool. He brought me Suzee cupcakes, when he was breaking up with me. There's just a cupcake brand out here that's called Suzee Cakes, which is,
your name.
Yeah, so he brought me those when he broke up with me.
That's sweet.
It's sweet, but it was just like, okay,
literally.
bro. Like, yeah. It was just like, okay, dude, like, we're good. Like, it's fine. Our story was cute, though, because I met him at the bar I worked at, and somebody like knocked me over, and I had a tray of drinks, and I dumped them onto him, and that's how we met.
Well, that is a nice meet cute. That's like rom-com meet cute, but
Yeah.
it's too bad because he could never see himself marrying you.
Yeah, which I was just like, okay. And at the time, I was like 25, so I was like
Well, how old was he?
32.
Okay.
So I was like, yeah, you're looking for like someone who's not in the space that I'm in, and that's super
Yeah, I
bad.
asked a woman out recently, and she was like, I'm looking for someone my age that's looking to start a family. And I was like,
Cool,
okay.
great. Like,
Fair point.
yeah, missed out on a lot of heartache there.
You lady, you don't know how many cutoffs you're missing out on.
100, yeah, for sure. Okay, ask the question.
Okay, what's one thing that you'd like to change about dating?
Oh, I think people should. I think people should date more like me. But I
think
do.
I'm doing it right.
I really do. Like, I think that people, just what you were saying about that woman. I think that people like. Not that they cut themselves off from finding the love of their life, because we've established that I think that's bullshit. I think people are cutting themselves off from experiences that they could be having. And I think that more people are probably more queer than they realize. And I think that they just don't give themselves the opportunity to see that and to understand that. And I think that, I don't know, like I have someone in my life who she just sets like such specific hard boundaries for everyone that she's dating, and and then she wonders why it doesn't work. And she's just dating the same person over and over again, and it's just like, well, maybe
open up a little bit.
Yeah, maybe open up yourself a little bit. And also, like, I'm just suggesting you try some different kind of first dates. I'm not like out here suggesting that you date someone for a year that you're not sure that you're comfortable with. Like, but I'm just saying, like, be more open to some different experiences, and with gender and sexuality becoming as fluid as it's becoming now, it's just like, I think that it invalidates a lot of people, especially gender queer people or gender nonconforming people or non-binary people. I think that we're sort of, as a society, like disvaluing them, and like, I think that we're sort of like forcing them to miss out on a lot of stuff because we're so unopen as a society to like anything that we don't immediately understand. And I think that's a lot of what it is. It's like if people don't immediately understand it, then they aren't going to give it a time of day. And it's like, wait, but that's where the fun is. And that's where you learn.
That's where you learn.
And that's where you explore. And like, and then after that, once you've had that experience and you know that you don't like it, then don't do it again.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So I wish people would just be like, fucking just chill out, bro. Like...
All right. Well, I think that also kind of answers the last question, but I'll ask it anyway. The last question is, do you have any piece of advice that you would like to give people listening about dating?
Yeah, that. And then I think just be nice to each other. Like, because, I don't know, like, this world, it's not only is this world so small and you'll run into people again, and if you're shitty to people, that could, like, bite you in the ass later. And, like, because, like, I've had people be shitty to me in the dating world, and then, like, they don't get jobs because they were fucking shitty to me, you know? But I think just be kinder.
That's great.
To people. Oh, my God. I can't believe. Wait, I have this one story. Can I tell this one insane story at the end?
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
Okay. I'm going to do it as quick as I can. Okay. Dated this guy on a dating app. Went on 2 dates, was on a crazy diet at the time, not eating it, which is what I'm doing right now. Not eating dairy, gluten, soy, sugar, cutting out all the, like, inflammatory meat and veggies and fruit, essentially.
Keto?
No, it's like Whole30 almost.
Yeah, fruit isn't allowed on keto.
Yeah, it's like Whole30 basically. It's like processable food.
Okay.
I'm hungry a lot, but I just eat a lot. And so we went on a date, and he was like, let's go get ice cream. And I was like, well, I can't eat ice cream. And he was like, but it's vegan. And I was like, yeah, but like, I'm not eating any filler right now. Like, I'm just eating nourishment. And so we went and we ate ice cream, and I had to like watch him eat ice cream, and it was so dumb. And like, it just was.
That's just inconsiderate.
It was just dumb.
Yeah.
And then we were driving through K-Town, and he did like he's a white guy, and he did like an Asian accent, and I was just like, oh fuck, like this is awful. And then, our date ended and whatever, and I was going home back to Michigan for a week, and so he was like, well, when do I get to see you again? Which I also am like, don't do the when do I get to see you again right away thing all the time. Like, you can text each other, you'll see each other again. Anyway, I digress. But so I'm in Michigan, and he texts me out of the blue, and he's like, so that was it, the one time only hang? Not like, hey, when can we schedule something, whatever. So I just ghosted him because I couldn't. There were so many things.
Wow.
Yeah, I admit it. I fucking ghosted him. I couldn't deal with it. There was too many things to try to, it's not my job, So then flash forward a year later, I'm working at the bar that I've worked at forever, and this woman comes up to me, and she's like, hey, are you Suzee who works here? And I was like, yeah, that's me. What can I get you? It's not a weird thing because friends send friends to see me, normal to ask. She's like, did you ever date a guy? First of all, his name is Brad. Did you ever date a guy named Brad?
I just rolled my eyes so hard.
Yeah.
Brad.
Yeah. And I was like, Brad. Oh, fucking Brad. Yeah, I dated a guy named Brad. And she was like, okay, well, I'm his ex-girlfriend, and he cheated on me with you. And I was like, oh, fuck. First of all, he didn't, but I guess he did. But, he didn't. But, nothing happened is what I'm,
Oh, yeah. You just went out with
yeah.
him. Yeah.
It was just cheating in a sense, but I'm like, girl, don't even sweat it.
Yeah.
But I guess he had been they were on again, off again a bunch in a really bad relationship. And he had been torturing her with me and had been well, I could leave you for her any moment, blah, blah, blah. And showing her my Instagram, crazy shit. So I bought her and all of her friends a round of shots. I think she was coming to be mad at me, but then she was met with me and couldn't be mad at me. And so,
well, toot your own horn.
It's true though. I'm just so chill.
And then she met me, and she was not mad anymore. Let me just say,
it's true because I was like, "Fuck him, he sucks," and all of her friends were like, "Yeah." Then flash forward a year later, he DMs me on Instagram, and he's like, "Hey, can we get that second date now?"
Wow,
and then he's like,
the audacity.
And then he's like, this was when I was dating my ex. And then he's like, oh, never mind. I see you're in a happy relationship. Congratulations. And then I was going to leave it at that. But then I was like, no, fuck it. I'm going to call this guy out. So I DM'd him back, and I was like, yeah, that, and you're racist, and you cheat on women. And his response was, who's contacted you recently? And I'm not racist. My best friend, who's dead, by the way, from college, was black. And I was like, oh my God, dude, you literally just said the thing that white people say when they are racist. And also, to further unpack that, you're implying that you can only be racist to black people.
Yeah.
No, fuck you. So anyway,
That's not true. I'm racist towards everybody.
You got a race? I'll be against it. Anyway,
I'm going to clip that part out, and that's going to be the sound bite.
God damn it. God damn it.
Take away the context, baby.
No. Yeah.
All right, Suzee, got anything to promote? Got a website, Instagram, anything that you want to put out there into the world?
Yeah, I got websites, baby. I got actlikeagirl.tv. You can find out about my comedy show, the Act Like a Girl show, on that website. And then I have my own website, suzeedunn.com. You can see what's going on with my career outside of that. And then I also host an astrology comedy show that's monthly. And Joe is deeply rolling his eyes right now. And yeah, I don't know. Yeah, just follow me on Instagram and you'll see all the dates. Oh, my Instagram is bosswitch.
Yeah,
at
bosswitch. Used to be boss_witch, but you got
It was _bosswitch, but
underscore bosswitch.
yeah. But then I got an upgrade.
You got the upgrade. You got the OG bosswitch.
I got the OG bosswitch.
Hell
So
yeah.
follow me there.
Awesome, Suzee. Thanks for coming over and doing the show.
Thank you for having me. This is great.
And there you have it, everybody. That was my chat with Suzee. I hope you all enjoyed it. For everything regarding this podcast and game show, please go to datingishardcomedy.com. There's a contact page if you want to contact the show, if you want to contact me. You can follow the Instagram at datingishardcomedy, and you can follow me on Instagram at Joe Welkie. Yeah, if you guys could please subscribe, rate, review, give this shit 5 stars, please do that. If you're enjoying it, please tell a friend. If you're not enjoying it, shut the fuck up, please. Yeah, I'm really enjoying doing this show, guys. I'm really glad that people are enjoying it too, and I hope that I get to do it forever. Well, not forever. Hopefully, I get to become a millionaire eventually and just quit everything. But for the time being, I'm really loving doing this. I hope you are too. And until next time, later.